Welcome to the Jillian Grace Show, the podcast that doesn't just inform, it transforms. I'm Jillian Grace, frequency architect, multi-dimensional strategist, and your guide through the unseen layers of reality. Each episode is a living transmission, crafted to rewrite your patterns, recalibrate your field, and activate the truth encoded in your DNA. We'll navigate the energetic architecture behind relationships, trauma, intuition, purpose, and power, and close with a guided activation to embed the shift into your system. This isn't self-help, it's subconscious reprogramming. This isn't coaching, it's timeline engineering. This isn't content, it's a frequency shift. And if you're done with surface level advice, if you're craving depth, data, and divine disruption, if you're ready to stop performing and start embodying, you're exactly where you need to be. My name is Jillian Grace, and I'll see you there. Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Jillian Grace Show. On this episode, we are going to chat all about a frequency awareness that is right in front of you, that you have the ability to work out at any given moment, and you probably never even realized. And as we move through this topic, I want all of you to grab a pen and paper because it's going to require a little bit of active awareness. So I'm going to walk you through how to use this, how to apply it, how to do it as we really dive deeper in and we really learn more. At the end of this podcast, there will be a guided talk down that will help you to expand your own intuition and align with opening up to some new ideas and new concepts that we're going to introduce here. So I invite you to join me for that as we move through this step by step. And I teach you about an architect of reality that I bet you never noticed. So we're going to chat about numerology, and we're going to chat about it in a way that you've never heard. This is not magic. It's not prediction. It's not fate. It is something that I actually stumbled upon by accident through patterns. Human nature wants to recognize patterns because patterns make it feel comfortable, because it gives you the impression that you have a level of control or that you can predict a next step. And patterns are huge for all of us to make decisions. It's how we decide what we're going to do, what direction we're going to go into. It's our critical thinking skills. And when I worked with so many people over the long period of time that I have been seeing clients on a regular basis, I started to notice patterns of people based on their birthday, patterns of people based on different numbers within the dates that were important to them, patterns between people's houses and the different issues that they would go through as homeowners based on their actual structure. And I started to pay attention to see if there was anything connected, any way to decode that message and that piece of intuition that I was getting. And sure enough, I found an ancient pattern of science that I have applied ever since. Being someone who always needs to be convinced of the reality of something or the science behind something, this was a huge leap for me. So I want to share this with all of you so that you can start to look at numbers in your life in the way that can give you power, that can teach you about things, that can allow you to decode what's in front of you. So you can look at things a little bit more predictive, maybe not predicting the future style, but at least having an awareness of what something has to bring to the table and how you can step in to either activate that, use that, help that, or heal that, whatever it calls for. But first, before we dive into how we work with numerology, I want to give you some facts. I want to give you the science behind things because that's what we do here. I'm never just asking you to trust me. I'm giving you information so that you can take that information and you can choose how you want to use it in your life and have all of the facts behind it. Numbers were not invented. They were discovered. Every ancient civilization, from the Sumerians, the Egyptians, Vedic, Babylon, Greece, Chinese, they all believed that numbers were not symbols. They were forces. They were in the architect of understanding what radiated beneath them to create reality. The scaffolding of consciousness. The original human interface for decoding the world was based in those numbers. This episode is going to be about translating that ancient knowledge into something modern, grounded, and usable. And I have a whole set of frequency codes that I have put together that I use regularly based on my knowledge of numerology and also my knowledge of the different frequencies and systems that are built around it. So I used a lot of the archaeology understandings, linguistics, the cosmology, the mathematics, the philosophy, the psychology around really understanding these specific numbers. And that's available in my newsletter where I give you kind of an outline of each one of the numbers and the meaning of them if you want to go into more of a deep dive. But the most important thing you have to understand is that numerology is a system that helps you to understand the pattern you're running, the pattern you're meant to evolve into, and the patterns that you keep repeating. So let's begin. First, why numbers matter. Numbers don't vibrate in a mystical sense, but vibration in physics is always measured numerologically. Frequency is a number. Cycles are numbers. Resonance is a number. Numbers are the language of vibration. They don't cause vibration, but they describe it. Ancient civilizations knew this long before modern science. They used numbers to track seasons, to build temples, to align with stars, to map out consciousness, and to understand human behavior. Numerology was not superstition. It isn't superstition. It's a pattern legacy that has traveled with us for centuries and centuries and centuries. Humans are pattern-seeking beings. We feel safer when we can name a pattern, when we can understand a pattern, when we can anticipate a pattern to see the next move. Numbers are structures to the inner world. The origin of numerology came from the Sumerians. They created the first numerological system, and their symbol for one was a vertical stroke that just went up and down in the cosmic axis connecting the heaven and earth. Egyptians decoded duality into everything, Upper and Lower Egypt, life and death, order and chaos. The architecture used sacred ratios like 3, 4, 5 in a triangle to build their pyramids. Vedic texts described creation in a triangle sequence around sound, light, and form. They also identified 33 cosmic forces. This was the earliest version of what we now call the master numbers. Babylon astronomers tracked emotional tides through 14-day lunar cycles. Chinese cosmology used the 5-element cycle to explain transformation. And Qing used an 8-based binary code thousands of years before computers. These systems aren't mystical. They were mathematical. They were observational. They were structural. And now, when you combine them, you become able to see a universal pattern of language that are the foundation of where we stem from, the lessons we have, the code underneath. Our computer systems use these codes. Our right frequency healing machines use these codes. These numbers have been alive since the beginning of time. Understanding them has been a way for people to decode so many things that are left to feeling like they're the unknown. We have had both the ancient knowledge as well as the personal awareness of these frequencies and numbers for a long time. So now I'm going to teach how you can apply them into your life. First, I'm going to start with a quote that I thought was a really cool quote. And this is something that came through very recently because we're starting to understand the difference between how people that become mega successful in whatever they're doing, how they operate. And they operate on all different levels. They don't just operate on science. They don't just operate on information. They operate on intuition. They operate on ancient knowledge. They operate going into the fringe theories of understanding things and picking up pieces and applying them into their lives. It is said that millionaires follow science, but billionaires, they follow the science, they follow the astrology, they follow the numerology, and they follow the codes. That is the important piece that you have to open up to. Understand that there are codes here. They're meant to work for you. They're meant to work with you. And when you step into them, this power begins to explode within you. So, I'm going to teach you on this podcast one of the most basic ways of being able to begin decoding that frequency of information that is right in front of you. And we're going to do two simple ways of sort of understanding things around you. We're first going to use the frequency of the coming year. So, you can always be predictive of what a year is going to bring to the collective by working out the numerology number sequence. So, when we take a look at a year like, let's say, 2026, you break down the numbers one by one. So, in numerology, it's sort of a painstaking process of taking the number in front of you and breaking it up one number by one number by one number as you move along. So, with your pen and paper, I want you to write down 2026. And then underneath that, I want you to write 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6 equals. And then grab your calculator, or if you want to do this in your head, whatever you prefer, break that down and add together those single digit numbers. And at the very end, after you equal them together, you're going to come to a 10. Now, numerology strives to have a one number frequency. So if you come to a double number at the end of any adding, you're going to then add that number together to get a single number. So since it's a 10, I want you to take on your pen and paper the number 10 and write 1 plus 0 equals. And you're going to get a 1. So that means the vibration of 2026 is a 1. And the frequency of a 1 is a very monolithic frequency. It's about the ancient cosmic axis. So a point in which all sides begin to come together into one point in unison. It's the frequency of alignment. It's the frequency of direction. It's the frequency of identity. It also is the frequency of leadership, being the first, being a new beginning. So when you look at all those qualities and you have a year like 2026, it gives you the ability to look at it from a standpoint of what that energy of that year is going to be based on. Now, sometimes it works better to take a peek back at where we came from to get an idea of how that applies. And for 2025, I want all of you to take a moment to write on your piece of paper that 2025 year and then break that down just like we just spoke about. I want you to write 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 and then equals, and you're going to come to a 9. Now, 9's already a single digit number, so it's not something that you have to break down, but the 9 is a completion frequency. It's the horizon number. It's the frequency of release and integration. It's also the frequency of burnout. It's the frequency of the end of a cycle. Think about pregnancy, 9 months long. It's the cycle of a rebirth. It's the cycle of something being born. It's the ending of something prepared to release. So we just left 2025, where I don't know about you, but me, in the vantage point that I lived in, I saw a lot of things come to an end. I saw a lot of structures fall apart. I saw a lot of things come to light, making the awareness of certain things no longer the same. There was so much destruction and release and recalibration and deciding what you wanted to proceed forward with, what you wanted to keep, what you wanted to let go of. This year was such a transformative year for everyone that I have been working with and everyone that I've even ran into and talked to at the grocery store. It has been a very powerful year, and that's what nines do. Nines are also about humanitarian work. They're about how you give to the whole or how you do something that's going to benefit everyone around you. It's a very selfless frequency. So when that energy shows up or that number shows up, what it tells you is this is the baseline of what's going to be the vibration of the Earth's ideals or the vibration of the Earth's mental focus. So it was very apparent that this past year, 2025, was going to be a closing year. It was going to be a year of discovery, a year of release, a year of letting go, a year of falling apart, a year of tearing down, a year of chaos before we begin the rebuild, which is the 1 year that's about to take place. And having this information is great to have because it sort of keeps your head on straight when you've got all the chaos going down around you. When you know the pattern, when you can say, okay, this is a 5 year, this is a 4 year, whatever year it is, and then you have an awareness of what those numbers, the vibration of their frequency bring to anything that they have control of, then you are in a very optimal standpoint for making decisions, for letting things go, for allowing things to move through, for not getting too caught up in these moments that pull people off and really leave them stuck. Now, I just want to shed a little bit of light in a different direction here with this knowledge and how you can use it in a business sense and just further extend on what I talked about, where really successful people use this to their advantage. Think about it. If you know that the general frequency or the vibration of a year is going to be something like we're about to walk into new beginnings, change, things setting up, a new horizon, then how do you gear your advertisements for your business? How do you gear your launches before you go before any of your clients and you try to get them to maybe sign a certain deal or to move forward with you in a certain agreement? Being able to have this information, to pivot it and to place it where it needs to be placed is key in order to really understand how to open up that energetic frequency that surrounds us to put you in the position that you want to be in your life, in the success level that you deserve. And that was the power of this knowledge. And I want all of you to understand that piece. It's not about ignoring science when it comes to looking at astrology and when it comes to looking at numerology. It's not about ignoring the scientific frequencies or evidence that's out there. It's about interlocking the two together. That sweet spot in the middle, that point where the masculine, so the knowledge, the analytical, meets the feminine, which is the creation, the intuition, the mystical. That is the sweet spot of healing and growth that so many people struggle to get to because they feel like they have to choose one side or the other. And those who do not choose end up being the most successful people that you look at today. It's those that integrate both, those that combine that knowledge and that intuition to create something powerful within. They are the people we read about. They're the people that everyone says, I don't know how they did this. They are the people that are at the top of everything. So when I give you this information, it's so you can integrate it in to your science-based focus or to your analytical parts or that literal part of you that needs the evidence. It's so you can interwoven those pieces together and bring your own meaning to something. So you can begin to decode them for yourself and see them for the power that they are. And that's just one direction. So I kind of started you off a little bit slow and put you in the direction of just the year. And you can do this with every single year. You can look at years where we had major conflicts and see what numbers they were and see what day those conflicts happened on and get so much more of an understanding of how that frequency was really primed to go in that direction. So much more awareness begins to unfold. But there's also another really important piece here that I want to make sure that I don't ignore, and that is your life path number. And this is something that I use a lot more than I'd like to admit. It is such a powerful tool for me to look at the potential challenges that somebody has in their life or the potential direction that they're calling forward to be connected with as a soul. And it gives me insight on how I can connect with them to help move them through and step into that architecture mindset with their own reality. And I've done this time after time with clients. I've done this with relationships. I've done this with my children. I mean, you can do this with your children. It's an absolute incredible skill to sort of know their foundation. It gives you this bright light in the middle of the blindness of parenting, where you can at least have an awareness of certain behavioral patterns and then educate yourself on how you can help your child through that or how you can work with that as they grow. And I'm going to do my best to explain this verbally. I also have a video on my YouTube that I will link to this podcast for all of you to take a look at if you need more of like a visual approach on how you break down the numerology cycle. But I wanted all of you to understand at least how to break down the life path numbers. And then after you break them down, again, on my newsletter, I have a very detailed understanding of each one of the numbers. You can also run a Google search or any kind of like AI search to get that information as well. This is knowledge that's been out there and is shared with the masses on so many different levels. For my approach, though, I go in a lot of different directions. I use a lot of the ancient information. I also use a lot of the information that I specifically observed, as well as intuitive information when I put the numbers together. But neither way is wrong or right. It gives you a baseline no matter what. Okay, so we're going to work out a birth date or a full date together to give you an idea on how you can do this in your own life and you can apply it to the people that you know. The first thing you're going to need is a birth date, and we're going to use one together just so I can go through the format with you. But you would pick whoever in your life you want or yourself and do this same process in order to achieve this. So I want you to sit down and I want you to write down the birth date, February 9th, 2017. So 2 for the birth month, 9 for the birthday, and then 2017 for the birth year. And then we're going to do the same thing that we did with the year. We're going to break all of those numbers down into a single number. So you're going to take the 2 from February. You're going to write down just plain 2, and then plus 9, plus 2, plus 0, plus 1, plus 7. So you've got this long strand of plus numbers going all the way down. And then you're going to put into your calculator 2 plus 9 plus 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 7. And you're going to find that you come to a 21, which is 2 numbers. And remember, numerologically, unless there are certain combinations of numbers, you're always going to come down to a 1 number. So just to give you a little sidebar on that, with the exception of a few combinations of numbers, if you get a 2-digit number, you want to bring it down to a 1-digit. So you're going to take the 2 plus 1 from 21, and you're going to separate those out, and that comes to a 3. And 3 then is the life path number. So a 3 life path opens you up to the understanding of so many different aspects of yourself. First of all, it's the triad frequency. It's the oldest creative technology that humans have ever discovered. It is the triangle shape. It is the sound, light, form frequency. So 3 isn't just creative. It isn't just cute in the Pinterest type of way. It's structurally creative. It is the ability to take a raw idea, raw emotion, and turn it into expression. And then it has the ability to take that expression and turn it into meaning. And then it has the ability to take that meaning into connection. It is the frequency of translation. So when you look at this, if you are a 3 and you're aware that that structure of bringing things into form is very present within you, then focus on building it as much as you can. Know that being creative is part of your natural gift and honor that creation. So maybe you don't want to get too caught up in the analytics when you're doing your studies in school. Maybe you really want to make sure that your mind stays open so that you can see new innovation, new ideas, new ways of thinking, because that's really where you're going to shine. A 3 life path is here to speak. It's here to express. It's here to articulate. It's here to reveal. It's here to illuminate. It's here to connect through language, art, presence. It's not meant to sit behind a desk. Before we continue, let's take a breath. You're here for a reason, not by accident, not by coincidence, but through divine orchestration, and these words were meant for you. This is your moment to rewrite humanity. Think of one soul in your life who needs this transmission and send them this podcast episode now. There are so many out there who are silently struggling. Our role is to reach them, to ignite something ancient and true. Whether it's someone you love, someone lost in the noise, or someone ready to remember who they are, this is your chance. Because vibrational awareness doesn't just shift minds, it realigns lifelines. It reawakens paths. It reconnects souls to their original blueprint. Be the bearer of that light. It isn't just generous, it's sacred work. Share this, speak it, seed it. This is more than a podcast. It's a movement, and you're a vital part of it. Let's rewrite humanity together, one frequency, one soul, one remembrance at a time. Now we continue. having that awareness can help you to leverage what you need, knowing that your emotional energy is going to move fast, that you're going to become ungrounded. And when you do, you're going to seem scattered and it's going to seem like you're inconsistent or like you don't want to commit. That is part of your nature. So having an awareness that those are your blind spots makes it so you're not so blind to them anymore. And as soon as you get that knowledge, then you're able to really step into so much more powerful aspects of you and begin to architect your reality the way you want. I want to encourage all of you, work out your life path numbers. It's a great thing to know. Work out your children's life path numbers. Work out your partner's life path numbers. It's going to give you a idea of what you're dealing with firsthand. And then from there, you can choose how you want to activate, how you want to interact, how you want to communicate, and move forward. It's an extremely powerful piece of knowledge that goes overlooked by so many, but it's such a wonderful thing to have, especially as you're moving through life. Now, I briefly chatted about there being some numbers that you don't want to break down. So, numerology life path numbers also consist of a couple other different pockets. One of those pockets are karmic numbers. Another one of those pockets are master numbers or high spiritual numbers. So, at any time when you are breaking down the life path number of someone that you also want to have an awareness that there are extras that you may want to educate yourself on. If you come into a double number at the end, so you add all those numbers together and the end result is double numbers, then that's definitely something to look at. If you come into at the very end, some of the numbers in the teens. So 13, 14, 16, 19. So if anybody's life path ends in one of those four numbers, that means they have additional karma to learn while they're on this earth. So their frequency came in with needing to heal something rather powerful from their past. And having that understanding and being able to guide in ways that help to promote you to heal and move forward from it is a huge part in having an advantage of allowing yourself to grow and giving your soul what you need. It's priceless to have these numbers available to you. And your double numbers, like I mentioned before, your master numbers, those are numbers where people have high spiritual purposes connected to why they're here. So there are people that are here to really change the structure of how life is, to really focus their energy in a way where humanity will be able to benefit for years to come. So you don't want to ignore those double numbers either. All of those are important. And again, all this information is really available on the internet. I go through it on my YouTube channel. I focus a lot on house numbers and stuff like that too. So you can have an awareness of what you're stepping into when you step into a structure, because the structure holds a number, and within that number, there's a vibration. And you can accidentally end up in sticky territory without even knowing it just by walking into the vibration of what already exists. It's one of the coolest practices that I could convey to all of you on how to architect your reality and your understanding. So I want to encourage all of you to not just blow this off as some kind of floofy pseudoscience, to understand that our ancients knew about this. And those who are in the most powerful positions on this planet today still know about this. And being able to see it from all directions and incorporate it with your science based knowledge that you have is absolutely priceless as you move forward to architect the future ahead. And now we are going to go into our quick guided talk down, which is going to help you to step into this ancient knowledge, help you to awaken that part of yourself that calls to you to expand, and allow you to take this transmission and bring it into your own. Take a deep, slow breath in and let your body soften as you exhale. Let your awareness shift from the surface of your mind to the deeper, quieter place beneath it, the place where ancient knowledge lives. Right now, you're not activating a number. You're activating the intelligence behind the number frequencies, the field of wisdom every ancient civilization used to understand reality. bringing attention to the center of your chest. Imagine a soft glow forming there. Not a shape, not a symbol, just a presence. This is your inner access point to the numerological architecture of the universe. With your next exhale, imagine that glow expanding outward into a gentle grid of light, a pattern, a structure. This is the original language of numerology, the pattern beneath all patterns, the rhythm beneath all rhythms, the order beneath all experience. Feel this grid surrounding you, supporting you, holding you. It is ancient. It is neutral. It is intelligent. It is the same structure the Sumerians mapped, the Egyptians encoded, the Vedic scholars described, and the mathematicians of every era rediscovered. Now imagine this grid beginning to hum, not as a sound, but a recognition, as if your system is remembering something it's always known. Let that recognition rise. You're remembering that numbers are not symbols. They are forces. They are frequencies. They are the architecture of cycles, identity, timing, and transformation. Now take a deep breath and allow that to truly settle into your body. Imagine the grid of light gently dissolving into your nervous system, not disappearing, integrating, becoming part of your natural perception, part of your intuition, part of your inner guidance. You're not learning numerology. You're remembering the power of the sequences of the pattern. You're reconnecting with the part of you that understands these patterns instinctively. The part that senses timing, the part that recognizes cycles, the part that knows when something is beginning, when something is ending, and when something is ready to evolve. Take one more deep breath in, and as you exhale, feel the entire numerological wisdom field settle into place within you. Clear, grounded, and accessible. You are now attuned to the spiritual intelligence of numerology, not as a belief system, as a patterned language, a way of seeking, a way of knowing, a way of navigating your life with clarity and precision. When you're ready, you can take a deep breath and open your eyes. Carry this ancient knowledge with you, and with it, you will deepen your ability to architect your reality. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Jill and Grace Show. I am incredibly excited to pass this information on to you. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. A lot of the information that I just chatted about, I will put links in the description of this podcast for you to go to different videos, get different information from different sources so that you can educate yourself as much as you need in order to master a skill that can literally change your path by recognizing the patterns that have been there all along. My name is Jill and Grace, and I'll see you next week. Thank you for listening to The Jillian Grace Show. You've just experienced a frequency shift. Don't let it fade. If this episode moved something in you, share it. Send it to someone who's ready to remember who they are. And if you're called to go deeper, subscribe, leave a review, and stay tuned because this is just the beginning. I'm Jillian Grace, and this is more than a show. It's a signal, it's a recalibration, and it's a return to your original blueprint. Until next time, stay aligned, stay awake, and keep architecting the reality that remembers you.